Welcome back to Aussie Botcast for another evening, Sunday evening. Morning, Galactus. Thank you for tuning in from the UK. We do appreciate it. Hopefully, we're going to get some more UK people in the room because TF Nation is done. And next week, we're going to have a debrief of our very own. We expect Mikey and Jason from Toy Real. They're going to be our guests on, and they're going to give us the full debrief on TF Nation. So very pleased to have that. Tonight on my panel, we have a couple of people off sick, actually. There's a bit of a lurgy, bit of a bug going around the Aussie shores, but we've still got three strong people there. We've got Robbo, our man who has helped us out greatly for our presentation today. We've got Nefarious Clockwork. Did you always spell it with an E, Stelios?
Yes. That's how the characters spell his name in the game. Yeah.
There you go. And then we've got Josh, and we've got Josh on the screen, and Josh is also in the chat. And Josh, you finished a movie early with the missus. What were you watching?
I don't even remember the name of it because it was that lame. It had Adam Sandler as the producer, and it's his daughter in it doing some play.
Oh.
The mother gets cancer, and yeah, it's just a sob story. So I was like, no, this is.
Oh, it's one of his serious ones. It's
a serious one. It's not very funny at all.
Was it Uncut Gems? Was it called Uncut Gems?
Is he a jeweler?
No, he's not in it. He's just the producer. His daughter's in it.
Oh, just his daughter.
Yeah.
You know what? If you ever want an example of someone that looked after his mates in Hollywood, Adam Sandler's the guy to do it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He looks after his mates without doubt. Morning, Andy from Transformers the Show. Thank you for joining us. I hope you've recovered from your birthday, your trip to Spain, TF Nation, and that's been wonderful. I've just been sitting in my garage, mate, just playing with my Transformers. Pretty much the same thing. But today, from the US, actually, we have Mr. Tony Buchanan from Auto Update Newsletter. Hello, Tony. Thanks for joining us. And we are building up quite a streak, gentlemen, because this is another guest that we have got on for their first podcast ever. And again, I cannot believe that you haven't been on a podcast before, Andy, Tony, because you've been around for a long time, even pre-interwebs, pre-internet in the Transformers fan. So we're going to dive into that today. So what we're talking about today is talking about not only fans, the fans that support the fandom. See what I did there? Very smart. Yeah. Did it all myself, all my own little brain. No one gave me any credit for it. No one laughed at it, but I thought it was funny. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be exploring way back into the Transformers fandom, which Tony has been part of for a long time, and which we didn't get to see a lot of here in Australia and New Zealand. So it's going to be really interesting for us to kind of explore that with you, find out the history of Auto Update Newsletter and other fan-driven circulars that kind of went around before email and video chat and all that sort of stuff, and then kind of go into the modern age where Tony revitalized it, and he's been driving this forward himself and really doing a great job of honoring a lot of the fan-made projects and really giving them, space and air, which is really cool. Thank you for joining us, though. We do appreciate you guys tuning in every week. For those that watch us live, for those that watch us the next day at work and listen to us prattle on about these bots that we love, please like, subscribe, and join the chat. You can comment now. You can comment after the show, but we do appreciate it. And we have a competition on. Rob, our man of the hour, has donated 3 copies of issue 25 of Transformers. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Rob. And we will mail those out to 3 of our subscribers once we hit 150. I believe we're about 128, right? So you know someone that would like this chat, could get interested in this chat, or just, takes pity on us for our chat, they're welcome to subscribe and they may get a free comic out of it. Yeah,
I
fantastic.
think they're up to issue 34 with one, by the way, too.
I know I'm behind on Skybound. I do want to do an Energon Universe super episode where we get a G.I. Joe fan, a Mask fan, a Void's Rival fan, if anyone has really hopped onto the Void's Rival thing, and really kind of dive into that Energon Universe as a group discussion. I think that'd be really cool. But today we do have Mr. Tony Buchanan on from Auto Update Newsletter, and this is our topic: the fans who support the fandom. Welcome, Tony. Welcome to Australia. So, Tony, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us, and we know that you've been a fan for a long time, but tell us about your journey in supporting the fandom in different ways, right? And what was happening pre-internet.
Well, I like many fans in the United States from the G1 era, as they call it. I got into Transformers in 1995. I was a little late getting into it toy-wise, but I'd collected comics for years since I was a little tyke, so I had the Transformer comic from the very start. But I started my journey into it by joining the Transmasters fan club. They had a letter in the letters page for the second to the last issue, in issue 79 of the original G1 Marvel comic. And they put an address in there for the group for anybody that wanted to join it. And I was one of the big influx of 300 or so people that joined the Transmasters at the time. And that fan club was what catapulted me into all the medias. Fans were making newsletters of their own. They were making fan comics of their own. They were sort of filling the gap when the toy ended originally, to have something to collect and something to find out about new information from other countries, all the Japanese toy world that we didn't know about in the United States, just a whole bunch of different things. And that fan club sort of collapsed under its own weight because they were used to having 30 or 40 members, 50 members, but not having 300. And their newsletters at the time, people like Leanne Elliott, who did a newsletter, and Laura Pearson, who tried to do one for a short while. When all the newsletters passed away, I jumped in. Here was Generation 2 coming out, and I thought, well, people need to know about this stuff. And I jumped in with my newsletter in May of '93 and started doing my own. And it was within a few issues that they decided, hey, Tony, you just need to make it the official newsletter for consider this the official club newsletter. And I became later on co-president of the group along with Mark Tisdale. I did that all the way through almost 2000. The actual issue was dated the end of 1999, but I didn't come out with it till about 2000. But
Yep.
So that was my original group of newsletter. I did a fan magazine called Teletran, and I also brought it back when I came back here a couple years ago. But
Okay. So the original Transmaster Fans Club, Transmaster Fan Club, that was in the Marvel UK comic, or in the US.
In the US comic, they actually had a branch in the UK, Transmasters UK.
Yeah.
They sort of branched it off, and the fans over there, had their own letters being sent in. I don't remember if they had a official recognition of the fan club. They did, I think, in one issue talk about the fan comic of the time called Continue Generation 2, made by a fan named Matt Dallas, and I think they gave him sort of a heads up in the actual letters page before it stopped in the UK comic. But we all worked together. I mean, I was pretty closely working together with the people in the UK because I distributed a few other newsletters and fan magazines to fans needing it over here. But all photocopies and mail back at the time, snail mail.
Yeah.
So in your first few issues, what content were you putting in there?
Well, I did a naughty thing like reprinting a few British Transformer stories that U.S. fans couldn't see in small, half-size, shrunk-down pages. But I did features covering the new toys, new comics, things from Japan that U.S. fans didn't know about. I had amassed quite a collection at the time. I didn't sell off my collection until the early 2000s, but I had lots of Transformers premiums. I had almost all the original G1 series other than like 5 toys. I had tons of G2 and Beast Wars, but I was big into the conventions. The first 7 BotCons from 94 to 2000, I went to all those conventions and covered them and in the newsletter. And sometimes to my own detriment, because I would be spending more time doing articles and filming things in the convention, not really shopping.
Yeah.
What were those first conventions like? What were the first BotCons and such like?
It was wild. The first 94 convention, I think they had 200 pre-registrants, but I don't remember what number my name tag was, but it was a definite shift between the first and second convention because the internet sort of broke through more in about 95, and fans had their real names on their name tags in BotCon 94, and in BotCon 95 there were screen names. Their Transformers Mush multi-user shared hallucination, I think they called it, the little online gaming names and different email names. So it was kind of a change.
The MySpace usernames.
Oh yeah, MySpace.
MySpace is coming back. MySpace is coming back. They're bringing it back, 100%. Yeah. Do up your page. Invite Tom as your first friend. Put tunes on. MySpace is making a comeback. There you go. It is what is old is new again. There. Yeah. Oh, so cool. And so you were kind of like the report on the spot for those first number of BotCons, self-appointed, yeah. Did it give you any kind of did it give you special access while you were back there?
The original convention organizers, John Hartman and Carl Hartman, brothers, I was in contact with them before they started the conventions. They were in the club, and I helped them with sending a couple toys to them for an article they were doing in the let's see, they did some articles in Action Figure News and Toy Review magazine, and they did some in Tomart's magazine. And I sent them a couple toys to take pictures of for their article they didn't have, which if you knew those guys back then, they had everything. So, I mean, it was shocking I had something that they didn't have, but I contributed that way. And of course, as a result, they had me lead off the panels on the fan medias and the fan clubs in the first few conventions from 94 through 97 or so. But
and do you still have involvement in BotCons in more recent years? Have you managed to stay involved at some level?
Unfortunately, not a lot. The Hartmans stopped doing it in the early 2000s. Once I got with my significant other, I was not able to really go to any conventions money wise, and which is really kind of was awful because the convention I stopped going to in 2001 was actually in North Carolina, where I moved to, but I wasn't able to go anymore. I haven't been to a BotCon since, unfortunately. I would love to go back to a convention here soon and see how things are. I think other conventions have sort of taken over BotCon's spot, really, because they no longer have official licensing from Hasbro. But
well, from what I've seen of reports, BotCons are still going very, very strong, and obviously the convention circuit in the US is going very strong. TF Nation are throughout before. They put out an epic weekend, and we can't wait to hear the stories of that next week. And in Australia, we have none. Yeah, so far apart that it's almost impossible to get everyone together for a meetup, let alone a Transformers-specific convention. We have gotten an influx and quite a number of multi-fan conventions now. So Nova and Metro Comic Con, and there's several different versions of Comic Con. So we're doing all right, but we haven't had a Transformer specific one for many, many years. I just want to throw out, as you've been talking, we've been going through fan art, and we got a heap of eye candy for viewers tonight, all fan driven. Solon Dolls, he's been throwing out some great art, and then we came across Bedazzled RC by Ross. And if I remember correctly, I saw the post come up in a group, and he said he's got a passion for Transformers, and his significant other has a passion for bedazzling, and it came together to go together this very blinged out RC. Either that or she's got chicken pox. I'm not sure. But, she does look very, very cool. Very, very cool.
It looks like she should be at Jim and the Holograms crossover with Blaster, shouldn't she?
Yeah. You should send this one to Cybertronics free and see if they hop onto that. That's a great old thing. And so let's bring up before we bring up an issue of the last issue of Auto Update, and then I'll throw to some more. I'll throw to some more things. I want to show you some artwork. I can work out what I'm doing here. I'll show you some artwork that I have here from my phone. If I can work out where I am. Where am I? So check this out. This is my 10-year-old son, Dion. I'm raising him right because he is a Transformer fan. And so what he's done is he's taken boxes and created like this chili colored Ultra Magnus here, and he's been mishmashed from several different bots, and he's created like this 3D thing. How cool is that?
Oh, wow, like a collage.
Yeah, like an old school collage. He's done a great job for that. I've been holding on this for a couple of weeks, and I'm so blown away. I know he was working on this. And he's done a fantastic job of it. So there you go. I got a submission from Dion for a future update of auto update, or to go on your Facebook page. Very happy for that. I'll take a proper picture of that for you. But let's bring up a copy of Auto Update and get my mug page. Oops. Yeah. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so we have. So this is the August issue. So we're kind of going to go through it and disseminate it a little bit. So you've got fan art on the front here. Fan art on the front, and you have the cutout. You've got the premium that you used to get on the back of Transformer packs. Cut them out to send them off and get a special bot that you couldn't get at retail. What do we get if we save one of these coupons? And which bot will you send us if we collect like 20 more of these coupons?
Well, that point was created by Akira's son, one of the members in the group, and he is he's always creative with coming to. He's going to be in my Transformers Cribs section here in another issue.
Oh, yeah.
But he came up with the idea for those points, and he said I should use them in Auto Update, and I told him, well, yeah, in fact, it's going to be perfect for the contest I'm running, where they can spot the bot point on certain different pages and message me, tell me what pages they're on, and answer the couple questions and enter the contest. But the first part just ended yesterday, actually, but the first part was in that issue. And the second part will be in the next issue. And once I get the two halves together, the people that got them right in both parts, I got 2 prize packages to give away of Transformer toys.
That's amazing. I was only joking, but that's fantastic. So you've got fan competitions running in the newsletter on a fairly regular basis as well.
Yeah, this is the third one I've had for toy giveaways, and not counting a fourth one that I had on my page only that was for people that joined my group.
I love it. I love it. How good were the cutout coupons? Like, I never got one, right? Because I collected all sorts of random packs and all that sort of stuff, and I never thought it was possible to actually get the bot. But I would love to see them back. What would be cool if you could cut those coupons out and get a special treat as well. It's like the new Optimus from San Diego Comic-Con that comes in a cereal packet. Cereal packets used to be an event, right? You dig through, you get the toy, you get the competition. There's stuff on the back. It's a whole experience. Bring back that stuff. Bring back the 80s cutouts, I think, and 90s cutouts. And so you've got a throwback to the original fan club, Transmasters, which was in the US comic as well, at the bottom. So is the fan clubs, like, have you a of the fan club going still, or is it all been kind of been, is that just a kind of a retro vibe?
It's been kind of just spread across the internet. The original people in the group have all kind of sort of grown out of being into the fan club situation with their own lives. Several of the members have started their own book series. I mean, they've all sort of spread out and done their own things. Matt Kirkby, for example, and Sharon Laborde both have various books that they've produced, some on Amazon only and some in stores, I think, in just a limited capacity. But so everybody sort of turned their hobbies into sort of lucrative. I don't know how well they're doing, but hopefully they're doing really well. But yeah, it's more loose. It's strange, you would think the internet would connect people, and really it's sort of spread everybody out so thin that you don't hear from old people that much. Tony K, or Claypack, as his last name is in charge of the Transmasters Facebook group now, and for the last several years. And I talked with him about bringing back the Transmasters logo, doing some upgrading to it myself for design, and just sort of representing, that, hey, I'm still part of a Transmasters fan group, whether it's big or not, I'm still part of it. And besides the fact, Transmasters was the only fan club that was officially recognized by Hasbro, who had given a contract and signed, thanks to Leanne Elliott and her efforts, to use the likenesses of Transformers back in 1991. And I don't, probably no one at Hasbro remembers that, but I still got the contract. And if I run into problems when I'm trying to make a copy somewhere because they see Transformers on it and say, we can't copy that, I was like, I got a contract, here it is. You want a copy of
it? Blow the dust off it and dish it out. Oh, it's phenomenal. And so 108 issues. This is issue 108 in August. That's a fair length. How many of those issues are since you brought it back? So how many issues have you done since you brought Auto Update back?
The original series had ended with issue 78. So I brought it back with issue 79, actually.
Dude.
And I didn't try to start over again. I just said, hey, this is all connected, and I'll make references occasionally to my old newsletter. So
it's all in the same continuity. I love it. It's a lot of work, man. Thank you so much for that. On the right-hand side of the page, we've got all the Transformer groups that you do share this in on a regular basis when it comes out. You've got your editorial and artwork on the start. Generation Mechs, which you talked about before. Where can we get a copy of Generation Mechs if people are interested in buying James Roberts' book?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not sure how big of a production line he did of those. I know he did at least 500, but they were available at the TF cons and UK conventions that he goes to. He made it available online in March for a couple months, and people would be advertised it on Instagram and different places, and fans ordered it, did the pre-order for it. And I don't really know if he's doing any more sales online. It was sort of cost prohibitive for postage in the United States, in Canada. And he said that actually he's planning a couple other book related, one in fact as a complement to this one, more of a tabletop version with lots of pictures. but he's planning on doing more things, and he's kind of looking for a Canadian and a U.S. distributor, so he won't have to worry about dealing with all the mess that he had to deal with on this one.
Yeah. And then you put a teaser on Dan Gilvison's book, Bumblebee and Me, Life as a G1 Transformer. Have you gents heard of that book? It's by Dan Gilvison, the original voice of Bumblebee. He wrote a book called Bumblebee and Me, talking about his experiences. I look forward to that. We won't spoil it, did you read that just recently, Tony?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with it. It's just a small book. It's about 110 pages. It's just a small paperback, but it's a great book.
Yeah, very nice. Toy reviews. We love a good toy review. You got the new lines in there. What do you think of the Unicron army builder?
Well, it's quite a flashback to the original comic book. I mean, when all the little warriors come out, the cult members, so to speak, on Cybertron wearing Unicron helmets. It's kind of a flashback.
I love it. We've got more throwbacks to more new figures coming out. Every issue you have an update on the latest and greatest figures coming out. Mainline only. Do you do third party and KO, or you strictly Hasbro?
I stick to mainly Hasbro. I just recently started talking more about the third party, the stuff that I don't have a whole lot of information on. I had to talk to a lot of different people. But I started making folders in my group page of different third-party toys, and at least getting some coverage of when these places started business and some selection of the toys that they have.
That must have opened up a wormhole.
Yeah, I was completely ignorant of most of the stuff. You see a couple cool toys and go, "What is that? Hasbro didn't make that," you know.
And down you go.
And into the rabbit
hole. We've gone into a few wormholes as well. Just on distribution of this newsletter, Tony, do you email it out as well? Do you post, like, what do you do to distribute it? I saw the Facebook groups that 30 plus Facebook groups that you post in, but do you do email distribution as well? How do you get this out there?
I try to stay away from that. I had a few fans that were getting an email to them, and it was such a nightmare keeping track of posting on 50 different Facebook groups and then all the other places, because I expanded a web presence by getting on TikTok, and I didn't really want to be that on the internet and that much of a persona for that, but I got onto TikTok and groomed up to, I think, 1,550 followers, I think now. And I got onto Instagram, and I got onto Blue Sky and Allspark newsletter page online, and different places to post it, Reddit. Even tried to get onto X and Tumblr, even though I don't have much of a presence on there. But I mainly distribute it digitally. I really don't print it, but I have made a couple copies for myself because I like to have the printed thing in my hands because I'm old school. And I made some collected books of like 6 or 7 issues together, like a magazine, through a company called Kablam and online. And I made just a handful of copies for some of my friends on the group that have really supported the newsletter and contributed, but they got their signed or unsigned copies of it, so to speak, but I don't really print it anymore. Maybe one day I might get back into printing it, but nowadays there's so much cost with mail, it's the shipping and
you'd have to have people pay for it. You'd have to have people pay for it. And
at least
that would be a whole thing. But email distribution might be a thing. Let's play a little quick game. I see you got a game on this page, so let's play in the chat, and let's play on the phone and see who's the real Transformers fan and who's the fakes. We do that, Tony? Is that all right?
Sure.
All right. Fill in the blank. Number 1. One shall stand and one shall
fall.
Got it.
Why did you guys wait for someone to answer before you answered? Supposed to be quick at this. I have better things to do tonight than
die.
Maybe we need a buzzer. Maybe we need a buzzer. Me, Grimlock, say your name. All right, say your name first, then say the answer. We'll see who gets in first. Me, Grimlock, say blank them. Me, Grimlock, say blank
Eat them.
them. We'll just say.
We have to stress
Brag.
at the end, but
Yeah.
Me, Grimlock, say
Kill them.
me, Grimlock, say, execute them.
Yes.
When they're in quintessence. Yeah.
Yeah, Planet Quintessence.
yeah. Good Grimlock voice, by the way. Very nice Grimlock voice.
I'm working on the Grimlock
and so,
environment.
Yeah. And so let's have a look at the prize packages here. I'm going to blow this up if I can. As good as I can get. Oh, is that bigger for you guys? We've got a prize package here. So Insecticon and Kickback Movie Edition and Hot Rod with Matrix Funko Pop. Nice prize here, man. And Yellow Park Bumblebee model kit and a Matrix keychain fidget spinner. There's some tidy prizes. Well done, Tony. Really cool. And this is the Spot the Bot Point Transformers movie contest. Answer the 3 questions to the left-hand side. Then look in this issue to find the auto-update robot point. There will be 4 pages with the hidden point in it. Email me the 4 page numbers and the 3 answers. I get ya. Very nice. Is this competition still on? No, it is not.
It just ended actually yesterday, unfortunately, for the first part.
Fill us in when the next one comes out. We'll give you a plug. What do we got here? Cell shading. Is this custom bot art? Yeah.
Cell shading is something I covered a few issues back in my newsletter. It was something that, more of these terms that were new to me online, but because I kept seeing pictures of toys that looked like the cartoon, but they were a toy. And what they've done is they spray paint them, add different layers of paint, sometimes stickers, and they essentially draw their Transformers to look like they do in the cartoon, between the shadowing and just the various image. They look like a cell, or so it's
like Transformers Warhammer.
Yeah, it's very unusual.
Hand painted, yeah.
And is this all one artist, Tony? Is this all by the same artist?
Yeah, that particular is an article on that one artist. I had one a while back that had a couple samples of different artists that do it, but there's several. I've got folders on the group on my webpage that talk about it too.
Shout out to Grimlock Toy Lab on Instagram. That's some beautiful work. Really nice. And then Transformers Cribs. That is a very nice collection room. I don't know that we might have a big picture when we go back to the other slides, but that is that's an epic collection room. Bobby Martinez. Yeah. I think I've been talking to Bobby. Actually, I've made some chats because I saw him with his renovation. Is it pretty much the whole house that he's renovating for display, Tony?
I think it's mainly that one room, but he does have a lot of stuff in like a living room area too. So he's got a couple rooms that's sort of spreading out. And I gotta say, shout out to Akira's son again, because he came up with the idea for doing Transformers Cribs and the name Transformer Cribs, sort of take off of MTV's series from years ago.
Yeah, well, that show's done anyway, so that they can't get after you either.
Hey Gary, I think we got a few people on our panel that could do a Transformer Cribs Down Under.
Yeah, I reckon we could. We very much could. I know we've got some epic stuff here. We do want to do more collection tours. We're getting a little bit in, but we need to do some actual collection tours. And there are some brilliant Australian collectors on board as well. Shout out to Bobby. That's very, very nice. Artist Spotlight. We've got Pixel Formers. Little Chibley bots.
That's cool.
Little Chibley. Yeah, that's very cool. Shout out to them on Instagram. Very nice. There's so much you give so much credence to the fan projects. That's why we came up with the topic of the show. It's and you do a lot of this work to promote them yourself. That's really fantastic, Tony. I hope you're making getting a lot of supporters from it. And then DNA design. Yeah, I'm waiting on my latest DNA design kit for a Mega Prime actually to come in the mail. I'm looking forward to that.
Did they do the City Commander back in the day?
I'm sorry?
Did they do the City Commander one for Prime?
Yeah, I think so.
That was awesome. That made me go, wow. I really missed out on getting that Prime to get the City Commander, but very expensive these days.
That's one of the greatest things about, in a way, I'm sort of lucky, because by doing this newsletter, I get to see all this stuff, and share it with people. It's amazing that fans come up with so much artwork, so much crafts. It's amazing, the talent of the fans, and without the fans, of course, Hasbro wouldn't have had this success all these years. So, I mean, I cover both of it, and there's many projects that become, official businesses and so forth, for the fans to use. And it's pretty amazing that, fans can contribute that way, and fans can, hit that achievement.
Have you worked with anyone that has then become a YouTube creator or content creator?
The fans I've talked to, they've, like I said, they've spread off into doing books. They spread off to working for some of the people in the original Transmasters club became artists in the comics, like Guido Guidi, Nick Roche. They've actually done artwork for the comic books officially. More so in the series just before Skybound. But there's some of the fans that I talk to now that have done secondary covers. Of some of those numerous covers Skybound's had in different versions, like Fabian Gonzalez or his name escapes me right now. I can't think of his Titan Maki. I think he goes by, but his I can't think of his real name offhand. But some of those people I've done artwork spotlights on my newsletter.
Yeah. Have you heard of a guy called Warwick Wong?
Warwick
Wong.
Not offhand.
No? Okay. He's done a few alternate covers as well of the current series Transformers comics.
There's so many of them there's so many alternate covers. It's amazing that fans get to contribute that way, but it's hard to keep track of. I keep discovering new ones all the time and putting it in my group pages and folders.
There's certainly depth and breadth, and you do have folders on your auto update Facebook group where you contribute certain types of artwork to people. So there's plenty of eye candy for them there. When you run an interview like you did with the founder of DNA Designs, and I was just having a scan through the interview as you guys were talking. How do you run those interviews? Do you run it purely by text in terms of you send them the questions and they send through responses, or do you do it by phone conversation? How do you run them?
Pretty much by text and messaging, emails. I don't usually. I've only talked to people by phone like once, I think, in recent issues. My old series, I talked to people on the phone a couple times back in the old group and my old newsletter. But there was an instance that was pretty funny. A guy that was really involved in my newsletter back in the original series, Etienne Michael from Canada. He did a column in my newsletter for a while, and he talked to me on the phone about some role-playing game Transformer ideas he was working on and trying to create. I put it in the issue because I was finishing my issue as we were talking on the phone. So I put it in my newsletter, and he got the issue a few days later and said, "How do you know this stuff?" I says, my idea that you weren't in on the news is completely washed away. I mean, he says, you know things before I even know they're happening sometimes. He'd talked on the telephone.
That's phenomenal. That's really, you would have your finger on the pulse of a lot of things. How do you find you struggle to keep on top of everything month to month? Like, it's a lot of information to kind of process and then put into. How long is your newsletter? Like 20 pages?
Typically 20 pages anymore, yeah.
Mm.
My old newsletter used to be a limit of 12 pages just because 6 back-to-back photocopy pages is all I could put in the mail for the price of a stamp. But I realized that, well, on the internet, there's not a limit per se, but if you go beyond about 20 pages, you're a book. You're not a newsletter. So, in fact, most newsletters are probably more of 2 to 4 pages, but there's just too much material to do 2 to 4 pages a month. I mean, that would be insane.
Yeah. The less pages you have, the harder it is to curate it. This screen I've got up at the moment, Tony. Who's done this? Oh, actually, it's just on the first page. James Badger, The Rust Chronicles by James Badger. Yeah, right.
That's an awesome Cybertron right there, the Megatron.
Yeah, that is sick as. So tell us about the Rust Chronicles.
He's a fan that I saw posting on other pages. I think Transformers Spot posting and a couple other Facebook groups, and I contacted him, and he was one of those really elusive people. He didn't really respond to the couple times I contacted him at first, and finally he messaged me and said, that sounds cool. And that's about all he said about putting his pages in one of my media. So I thought, okay, well, he did say it sounded interesting or kind of cool, so I'm running with it.
Yep.
And sometimes you don't get a hold of these people. As long as I get some sort of okay, I don't like to just randomly put stuff in the issue. But if I do come across some things that I didn't get explicit permission from, I make sure I credit them, because crediting everybody for their hard work, whether it's an artist or someone who looked up information, and posted it, or whatever the case is very important to me. It's something that's not done on the internet a lot, because people like to just share information and just pass it along and don't really give credit where credit's due. So I'm a real stickler for that, Yeah. If it's something I need to put on my page, I credit it.
So, gents, we've gone through the August issue. What are your thoughts on the auto update newsletter in terms of the content and how it's structured and everything? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'm sure Tony would as well, because I there's some very established fans in this panel, and we never really had anything like this back in days that any of us could remember. So, Rob, Stelios, Josh, what do you guys think of auto update newsletter? Because this is your first exposure to it.
It's pretty good. I like it. I like the segments. I think the in memorial section is really thoughtful.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
That was nice. Stelios?
Well, I like that you're focusing on so many different little bubbles within the Transformers fandom as a whole. I mean, you've got fan art, you've got interviews with fans, or covering different things, and I like it. I like it. Yeah, it's nice.
Nice. We'd love to hear in the chat too what you thought of the August issue of the auto update newsletter. Rob?
Oh, definitely. If we had something like this in Australia when we were growing up, I definitely would have been on board with something like this. I was a bit of a drawer myself back in the day, so I would have done definitely something like this. This picture you've actually got up now, that reminds me of one of the storybook Transformers that you used to get. I think it was a Hot Rod and the Insecticons storybook.
Yeah. Some of those storybooks had epic art, didn't they? They really, really did.
That picture there is an interesting story. When I first started talking to that Robert Heath, he said that artwork like that and a few other pieces he first did. He did them at work in his spare time on scrap pieces of paper. I think he said that was done on a paper bag with highlighter markers and his pins and so forth. He did. So that's what gave it the look. It's pretty creative. It's like, wow, you're doing that good on paper bags. It's incredible.
That's brilliant. That's really good. And then, Jens, my follow-on point is, what would you like to see in a newsletter? Like, what if you were to subscribe to a newsletter? What would you like to see in it? And you don't have to answer right now. You can kind of percolate on it. I would love to hear what you think that could be covered in the Auto Update newsletter. I really like the writing in it is actually like succinct and informative at the same time. Like you really kind of get drawn in to going through the newsletter, and I think you're doing a fantastic job of pulling it all together and making it an engaging piece of media. In a world of YouTube shows, like ours and all the others, and so many forms of instant gratification media like Instagrams and your TikToks and stuff like that, it's actually quite cool to have a piece of media that you can sit down and kind of read and scroll through at your own leisure every month. I think you do a good job of that. So well done, mate. That's kudos. And if we come up with any brilliant ideas, I think we brainstormed for a couple of our guests in the past. Todd Douglas Bailey we had on. He's doing the voices of Generation 1 in the movie. He's doing that Kickstarter project. We managed to give him a few ideas on his relaunch of Kickstarter. Didn't we, Stelios?
Yes. It was very fascinating. I loved it.
Tony, I think you could get a lot from having an insider in Singapore, because on my trips to Singapore, they had stuff out for sale that wasn't meant to be released for months. And the shipping containers get to Singapore, they unload them, the fans get early access. One mall in particular has at least 3 shops, and they would set up shop just with tables in the middle with stuff fresh off the container. So you can get an idea of stock levels and what's going to be released all around the world globally before it hits the floors of most retail outlets. So yeah, getting a bit more international input and coverage could set you apart.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a few members in the group that are from, I think, China and Singapore, and they'll have pictures of toys that I just found out about, and then the next week they've got pictures of them in hand, and I'm like, what? So like those Megatrons, it's like you've got it already, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get them fast, real fast these days. I'd really like to get the newsletter by email. I get a lot of email correspondence, like this is my day-to-day, not even Transformers related, but I would totally love to get some in the email inbox once a month and be able to just kind of go through it at my own leisure without going down the wormhole. Sometimes you get sucked into on social media. And even in the fan group. So that's my suggestion for in the future. And then I want to divert to this beautifully vibrant star screen here. Drawn on the back of a brown paper bag as well. Maybe not. By Robert. Robert E. That is just absolutely. That looks like it was done with a highlighter. Like that color on the background in his cape was just phenomenal. Nice work, Robert. Where can we find more of Robert's work, Tony?
He is posted on a few different groups on Facebook, and I sent him an invite to my Facebook group, and I don't think he's joined my Facebook group actually. But On the topic of having the issues to go through, I mean, people that are able to get on Facebook and join my group, I post my newsletters there first, except for these two issues with the competition. I post at the same time, to be fair, with all the other sites, but normally I post them about a week in advance on my site compared to the other sites, and then I post them everywhere else. But I have a section of files, and all the PDF files of the newsletters are in all the most recent issues. So someone can just download the issue and look at it continuously, page by page, on one chunk, and they can print it out, and it looks even better than it does online as far as quality does, being the 600 DPI, PDF files. But so there's an option there. I mean, I don't email it other to one fan who's pre-internet, but
yep. That's fantastic. So you built this so you can print it out.
I definitely, I love the feeling, like I said, of handheld medias that you can read, and so I'm kind of old school that way. So doing the digitally is very cool. It's nice to be able to do it, but I wanted to make sure fans could print it out and have it, if they wanted to, in lieu of mailing it,
I have a question in my mind. I can't think what it is. But shout out to Fock Weasel. Let's shout out to some fans in the comments. Fock is not feeling well. He's one of our regular panelists. He has an awesome Transformers crib that we've only seen snippets of so far. I would highly recommend his place for a future issue of the Transformers cribs. He has a great room. Shout out to Swerty, Blind Neighborhood Nerd, another YouTuber with the Unitary and Robocen robots. She does great skits. Fantastic, folks. Let's keep it going. So we've got fan art profiles from Michael. So are these bios that he's written himself?
Yeah, I just recently came across him a couple days ago, and I'd seen him post somewhere else, I believe, several months ago, and I just lost track of who it was or what it was. And I seen it post recently, and I thought, well, I need to get the profiles in here. I think most of these artwork on the profiles was just essentially copied from the Dreamwave profiles. But he's changed the colors, and he's also made the profiles, sort of made them into characters. From all the color mistakes that they had in the cartoon, he's just sort of made them into their own little characters that appear in the background. And he's made Mythos up for some what-if type alternate universe characters, essentially, too. But hopefully I can do a spotlight on him. I was talking to him yesterday about doing a spotlight, and he seemed kind of up for it. So perhaps I can spotlight him in a future issue.
Just scanning these, they're very much reminiscent of the expanded versions, but of the old bios you used to get. It's another thing on the old packs, right?
There's a guy, he goes by Clean Transformers Memes. He's got his own page, and he's created the artwork for the sides of the profiles, the little the margins and the little squares and so forth, to make those more the meets the eye type profiles that he was looking at. And I don't know if he got help from that gentleman to make his profiles or not, or if he just sort of did it himself. But he's someone who I've been posting a lot of in my Teletran fan magazine. The profiles he makes from Clean Transformer Memes, and then I've planned to make maybe a universe special, like a one shot with a bunch of different fans created characters like that. I used to do that in my old newsletter, have different sub specials. I did some on fan medias. I did some on toy collectibles, like merchandise. I did some on the universe characters. So I'd like to get back into doing that, time permitted. It's you got to leave some time for your other half in the real world a little bit too. But one of the fans talked to me about how your motto for doing these things should be, "If only I had the time," or something to that effect. It's like, yeah, that can be a stifling moment.
You need to get one of these talented fan fan creators to do a bot version of yourself with your own bio, and then you can chuck it in. What keeps you engaged in the fandom so heavily? Is it like the excitement for the franchise itself and like the official media that comes out, or do you think it's more the fan-driven stuff that has kind of kept you going in all these years? What keeps you passionate about this stuff, Tony?
It started out being the toys and the comics and all that good stuff. And then as that originally died and let you down before Generation 2, you got into that whole fan subsection of things. And and nowadays, the reason I started the newsletter again after all those years, after like a 30-year gap, was that I kind of followed things loosely online, and I had a few collected comics here and there, even after I got rid of my collection. But on the internet, it's so hard. You find something that's cool and it's gone. It's like whoosh, and you have, well, who did that? What page was that on? I was looking at it on, and I mean, we need a permanent record, so to speak, of this stuff, and something that you can always go back to and refer to. Not have to try to find it on a scrolling page, page and page back. So that's one of the reasons I started again when they had the 40-year anniversary of the cartoon. I said, I need to talk about this like I did my newsletter, and let's start the newsletter again, even if it's just for one issue. And I did a 4-page issue, number 79. And I said, I'm kind of hooked again. I want to cover all this fan material I've been looking at, and talk to some of these artists, and, see what everybody's up to after all these years that used to be in the group. And they need to be recognized, So starting my own little group page newsletter was kind of a natural thing to do. You mentioned Transformer characters. In the group, when I first joined Transmasters back in the 90s, we were supposed to make up a code name of a Transformer character for ourselves when we joined the group. And some people took the easy way out and they just said, I'm Optimus Prime, or I'm Grimlock, or whatever the case is. But the more creative people like me, created a character, Hang
on. We got to bring you up on big screen.
My character was Autoforce. He was a data collector and archivist for the Transformers. And he was a hovercraft transformed into a robot. The first version of it was an Action Master, because Action Masters were new at the time. But yeah, this drawing here is, of course, not my drawing. It's Destin Hayes' group. He does fabulous art. I mean, I had him commissioned to do this.
Can you bring it up a little closer to the camera, please, Tony?
I had him commissioned to do that drawing of my character. And
in the July issue.
Yeah, that was issue 107. But you'll see my character pop up from time to time, my own drawings of the character that I did in the past. My drawing was mediocre. I never practiced that much. I was more of the story writer and news coverage person. I created over 100 characters, probably about 130 characters back in the day. I still have their profiles. You'll see them eventually again.
Yeah, right. So, was that you writing fan fiction, or like fan fiction with stories built around these characters, or were they characters that you just crafted kind of individually?
Yeah, it was funny you mentioned the newsletter was sort of succinct. It was kind of a brief descriptions and so forth. That's kind of my style. I'm not like Stephen King, who writes 25 pages to describe the way the guy's frown looked. My stories were probably 20 pages max for the whole story, but there were short stories that were centered around Transformers and adventures with my characters and other characters, and I always would have my profiles to supplement the stories so that I didn't have to write so much to describe the character. I mean, here was the profile. He's in the story. You can read about him in the profile and draw your own conclusions on how and why he acted the way he did. But so that's kind of my style. That's what I've been told. I was very succinct, but to the point.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I love, this is probably my favorite that we've seen so far. This character here. From Dan the Art Guy, Instagram at ArtGuy101. He's an Autobot, but he looks badass. Right? You got the Wolverine claws going on, but it's the face sculpt that I really love. Right? You do not see that on an Autobot character ever. Do you know much about this one, Tony?
Dan the Art Guy is an old school fan. He used to go to the BotCons in the early years around 97, 98. He is a great artist. He's been in some the Transformers Legends card game. He did a lot of the artwork for that. And I've got some posters he made back. Unfortunately, it was damaged in storage by critters. There's an example of the triple changers there from Dan Cannon.
Mm.
And I've got a picture here of the Optimus Primals, the Gorilla, and the Transmetal versions from Beast Wars.
That's awesome.
But he did a lot of artwork back in those days.
So Dan, is that a
the artwork really? The artwork really reminds me of like some of the toy artwork from like Cybertron, Transformers Cybertron, that era.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of the way it was. Yeah. Sorry, Josh, you were saying?
No, it just reminded me of Wolverine with the 3 claws. That's awesome.
Yeah, totally. Even the teeth and stuff. He does look like a Transformers version of Wolverine almost, but
it's like a cross between Bludgeon and Dynamite.
Yeah, and Scotty Fuckweasel says your house must be full of amazing art. You need to get some of that up on the walls, Tony. That would be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I really like his style. Dan the Art Guy, you do some amazing stuff. I really like his style. That is brilliant.
Oh.
Have you had much exposure to people who build custom figures, Tony?
That's something I've been getting into more recently. There's been a lot of people doing customs I've seen on other pages, and I've got to thank all the other Facebook pages out there, because the best way to do research is to be part of a bunch of different Facebook groups on Transformer fans, and just to peruse it and then get a hold of people that are posting on those pages. It's a good way to do research, and that's why I started that credit section of my newsletter, because everybody, I feel like I'm a sounding board for the other pages. In a way, I sort of go through it and collect it together, and that's natural. I have to thank those pages. In fact, from time to time, when I post things in my group page, I'll not only say the name of the person, but I'll say what page I got it from. Like maybe Reflector Files posted this. This is pretty cool. And I feel like I'm trying to bring them, not business necessarily. In Reflector Files' case, I think he does make hits off of the money off the hits on the page, but yeah, I try to bring the success to other pages and to spread the word to other pages from my page and back again. I think it's good to help the fans that way.
It's a great way to approach it. Dan the Art Guy, I think you're going to get some follows off this on your artwork, because you do beautiful work. Yeah, so Dave and his minions, phenomenal.
And it's interesting too when you look at some of this artwork. By posting my original newsletter, like I did, it was photocopied and it was mostly black and white. And I did some things in color. I did color specials for convention and coverages and a couple other specials. But maybe I had a color cover a couple times. But by seeing most things in black and white originally, and then seeing the artist do it in color, I love that, showing it the progress from the sketch to the ink to the color, because there's so much detail that the artist does in the black and white version just before they color it. That's pretty amazing. I mean, you can see things, and in some cases, I like the black and white version better than the color version, because you can see the shadowing and seeing, cables on the robot. And when they add the color, subdued, you don't see it as much. So it's awesome to see that, that transference from one stage to the next.
100% agree. Sometimes those sketches. We had Brad from BP Arts, and we had a sketch of his Scorponok that he did for an alternate cover, and then we did the colored version, and the colored version was beautiful, but there was still something very appealing about the black and white sketch. So we know you've got an epic art collection, right? But what about figures itself? Do you still get into the figures yourself, and how you built up a figure collection as well over the last 30 years?
Well, unfortunately, my original collection was sold in the early 2000s, and since then I sort of treated it like an addiction, because I felt like I had to collect them all when I was collecting them. So I made sure that I just sporadically got figures over the years, things that really caught my eye, or things that were on a clearance somewhere, and I thought, oh, I could get him for $10, But right now I've got 3 or 4 shelves. They're packed, but I've got 3 or 4 shelves I'll have to take photographs of. But you really can't see much other than just a crowded shoulder-to-shoulder series of robots.
What line floats your boat? What's your current favorite in terms of lines of figures?
Well, what got me back into getting more of the toys, other than just a handful, was that Siege line. To Transformer Siege, with all they had the articulation that we always wish we had. It had characters that was from the original line, Headmasters and Target Masters and so forth. And the forms and molds were better than the original ones, other than the fact that they were a little bit brittle as far as transforming and popping off. But that comes naturally with the articulation, I guess, ball joints and so forth. But that sort of got me back into things again for the toys a little bit. And I did get several toys of those. But other than that, I've stuck to just my druthers, so to speak. I've stayed into just getting, I like Sea Spray. I got to have the new Sea Spray. Or, DevCon. You wanted DevCon since he was in the cartoon. I had to get him, I've tried to keep it close, and money's always tight. So, unfortunately, living as an adult, you got to do the adulting thing, and things like power and so forth come first. So, I've only gotten a few. I got Quake recently, from the new line, and I was impressed with the toy, but I just wish he'd had some sort of stickers on him somewhere. I mean, he's just so bland. But I think Toy Hacks has the sticker set, and I'm going to get into, I've done articles about Toy Hacks, and I'm going to get into ordering a set for my Quake and doing a before and after, because most of the pictures I see of Toy Hacks and people having the stickers have just posted what they look like. They're cool. And I was like, yeah, but you need the before picture too. We need to compare what they look like. You put those cool stickers
to show
on.
the glow up.
Yeah.
Scotty says the more of this art, he's just been admiring the art as well. The more of this art out there, the more likely a third party would do one of the variation colors. That is the thing about third party too, Tony, is that they tend to do the exploration before the main line catches up a lot of the time. So it's a very interesting world with third party, and they even have, with some of the recent mainline figures, they've even fixed some of the glitches that the main companies haven't had and improved upon the figure for their own release, including the KOs. So there's definitely some love and care going to some of those third party and knockoffs. I like this one with my triptych.
On my group page, I just recently started, like I said, covering some of those third-party people, which was kind of a completely new world to me. But I got help from TF Arc Legends and a couple other people who are very informed in those things, because they do displays on them and they buy those toys. And I plan on doing a couple specials on the newsletter, maybe one on fan toys and one on, a couple other lines, that were really popular in the third-party toys. And at least the fans need to know that they exist, and that there's an option other than the main series of toy lines. I mean, there's a couple people I post on the groups of that would not let me post anything that wasn't officially Hasbro, but I just post all the newsletter except for that page, you know, and tell people if they want to see the missing pages, contact me and get on my group, you know. But I don't want to leave anybody out, you know, if it's possible to cover it.
You got a bit of cheek about you in the best possible way. This picture needs to be sent to Hodor, the Triptychon guy. I reckon he'd eat this one up. If you haven't had a chat to him, he is the loveliest man. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, and so fascinating. But he has a wonderful Triptychon collection. But he started off with an epic diorama back in the 90s as well. So he's been around for quite a while. I think he absolutely loved that previous picture that we had on.
I did him in my Transformer Cribs. He was my first Transformer Cribs 2 issues ago.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Did you just start that 2 issues ago, did you?
Yeah. This the one I'm printing out, the one that you saw in that issue is the second Cribs, and the third Cribs is coming up here in a couple weeks with the new issue. So I've got a couple more people lined up for it. So it's been pretty popular.
He's such a nice guy, and we had a great time pouring through his collection as well. But super epic collection. I really like this style as well. You boys had a favorite yet? Robbo, have you had a favorite artist yet out of all this? I should have been asking.
Well, I kind of picked all the pictures, Gary, so they're kind of all my favorites, to be honest. So.
This guy, Damon Batt, I've talked with him. He and what's his name? Washington the Third. I can't remember what his first name is. Frankie Washington. He and Damon Batt both were entering an art contest a month or two ago, and I think Damon Batt placed 5th in the art contest. He was a little salty about it. He was hoping he'd do better than that, and I'm not sure where Frankie had placed. But I had both the artists. Well, Frankie, I had in an artist spotlight a couple issues ago, and this guy here, Damon Batt, I've been trying to get him to answer my questions for the artist spotlight. He keeps promising me he's going to answer them. I sent it to him a few weeks back. So if you hear this, Damon, send me those answers. I'll get you in the newsletter.
Answer these questions, Damon, because you do wonderful art, mate. You do wonderful art. That's 100%. Stelios, have you had a favorite yet, artist or fan project?
It's all Transformers. How can I pick a favorite? I did like that Quintesson one that we had earlier. That one I liked the by Damon. That was quite nice. Yeah. Oh, they all look so vicious, don't they?
Yeah, so creepy.
Love them.
Especially
Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah, who's this dude in the corner with the like stretched out head and that? Who's that? I've never seen him before, but he's creepy, as the youngest would say.
Yeah.
It does actually look like something from the 2000 AD comics.
Yeah. Very dystopian. I love it. And the Sharkticon down the bottom there. Really nice. Josh, favorite so far?
Oh, mate, it's hard to pick, but I think that picture with Skylinks and Triptychon next to each other, and then I love the force perspective on.
You've got the Predacons in the background there too, Josh.
On Call of the Primitives, the cartoon episode with all the beasts getting together in G1.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool, and the background is like really reminds me of some spray paint art that I've seen done on the street.
Oh, I was just thinking about that. I've got some spray paint art, and that's what it reminds me of as well. 100%.
Airbrush.
Really good.
Yeah, airbrushing is a tough skill to do. Inking is really difficult, but
you guys could have a whole episode regarding the problems with AI and AI art, because it's been a thorn on my side here recently in the newsletter. I lost one member because he was an artist, and I posted some AI orientated art. I mean, usually the stuff I post are in a couple folders, and they have some AI or some computer generated assistance to the artist. But it's kind of hard to differentiate pure AI versus having someone using a computer program like Photoshop and different programs to make backgrounds. There's a lot of toy pictures of photo art when they use computers to make background images for their toy poses. Some people like Arc Legends do actual paintings and so forth for backgrounds, which is much more interesting. But I try not to leave out the AI to a certain extent because it's a tool, I think, if used correctly. But I really don't want to post all AI in most cases. I do have one fan that I've got a folder for that does Xenon Awful, I believe his name is. He's got his own page, but he does some really creative uses of making AI images. And he'll make like Transformers posters, using AI. What if this movie was done with Transformers, like Breaking Ice or something with Transformers with roller skates and things like that are really, really took me by surprise, that were creative. And the creativity is what I like, not necessarily the AI art, but it's kind of a thin line to ride right now with AI versus real artists.
It's a real point of contention in the fan groups.
Yeah, I think it's unwarranted because when it's bad, it's really bad and it's not worth showing. But when it's actually really good, it took a lot of prompts to get there. That taste of creativity. Someone like you, Tony, who's better with words and storytelling, I think you could come up with some really excellently detailed prompts rather than it just being, draw a star screen with a Bruticus behind him sort of thing, and ending up with a pattern color. But so if you're good with words, AI can be really good. I did see something last night that made me almost piss myself laughing. It was a page on YouTube called Skynet 2.0, and they had what if Street Fighter 2 characters were in the UFC. And it was done so well. It was so hilarious watching AI Joe Rogan commentating with Guile sitting next to him, and Chun-Li doing her spinning bird kick, and Joe Rogan saying, "What is she? She's like some Chinese attack helicopter." And it was just so ridiculous. But seeing it all play out on screen, it was just like, oh my God, I've never seen AI 3D graphics that are done so realistically and done so well. It was awesome. And yeah, I'm glad it was made. Sorry for my side rant.
I really hope, and I don't want to go down too much of the wormhole here with AI, but I really do hope we quickly find a point where artists can either fully protect their work from like the AI search, so it doesn't get drawn in, or there is means to get them properly compensated for it, or some like that. I just hope the technology advances, because we can't avoid the technology, right? Like, it's here and it's growing and it's evolving faster than anything. But I hope there's still some way built in, whether it be legislative or whatever, to protect the artists that want to protect their work. And so, you don't have to, because it's real point of contention. It's constantly drawn up that, one, it doesn't take any creativity, two, it doesn't take any artwork. And I 100% agree. Like, some of it is, fans trying to get their thoughts out there, and they don't have an artistic bone in their body, and this is the way that they try and get their idea to some sort of concept they can share. But I would really like to see, as we've seen tonight, there is so much fantastic talent out there that we need to ensure that we protect these kind of artists and all the different kind of artists that we see, and make sure that they still very much have a voice and a way to make a living and a way to protect their creative output as well. And I hope it comes very soon, because I see fan groups arguing more about AI than actually enjoying the fandom these days, and it's a bit sad.
That's
sad.
One of the things
Another
I would
wonderful
support the artists and try to protect them. If we can find some way to do that, I'm all for the AI. But
100%. And it is. It's getting harder and harder to tell what's what, right? The line between digibashing and full AI, and you know, it's difficult, especially if you don't have an eye for that sort of stuff. This is another wonderful Triptychon, and this is a sketch by Gilbert Leaker. Sorry if I mispronounce your name, from Auto Update Newsletter 83 back in the day. I love Triptychon doing his Godzilla, best Godzilla impression, stomping on the city there. Oh, I
That's cool.
like that. I like that a lot. That is dark as
black and white artwork that I see a lot of that has some really menacing shadowing, and you just have the personality of the character, you know, exuding from the drawing, you know, from the way he's done the shadows or done the positioning or poses of the character, you know.
Yeah, that is epic. That is so dark. What do you? I know you got an Autobot shirt as well. Which faction you lean more toward, Tony, or Autobot or Decepticon?
Autobot. There's an interesting thing about that. In the old Transmasters group, there was a member who did her own fan media. It was called Conquest, and she was clearly Decepticon side orientated. She really sympathized with the Decepticons, the undertrodden, the other side of things, and of course, she was one of the first people that really was looking at the bad guys from why are they the way they are? I mean, they're not just bad guys to them; they're not bad guys, you know. And back in that time, it was black and white. You really didn't have too much gray. And of course, now over the years, you know, we sympathize with the bad guys. There's pages like All Hell Megatron that, you know, the fans are all Decepticons, you know, as far as what allegiance they speak towards. But I always thought to myself, why would you be a fan of the Decepticons when all they want to do is kill you? I mean, unless you're not human, if you have the chance to become a robot, maybe you'd have a chance, you know, but you're just fuel for their engine, you know, to conquer the universe. So so I was definitely Autobot orientated, and I sort of idolize Optimus Prime and his ideals. So even though sometimes the ideal is not easily to achieve or very practical, but
I met an American bassist called Thundercat in Byron Bay one night, and I was wearing a Decepticon shirt, and we're in the green room out the back and hanging out, having a few rider beers for free. And he said, why are you repping the Decepticons? They're the bad guys. And I just simply said to Thundercat, because he was wearing his Thundercats shirt, which I've got, and we swapped shirts after I said this. I said, look at what the good guys do, bro. Look what they've done in the last 30 years, all the supposedly good guys. They tear shit up. They cause trouble. They don't keep justice or peace. They just fight for the sake of fighting for ideals. And that's why I'm deceptively conservative. I think that the Decepticon cause is, there's a whole philosophy behind this stuff, man. So yeah, Decepticons rule. So they're actually doing it for a reason, not just automatic programs. And a lot of humans run on automatic programs. They don't think for themselves. They're Autobots. I don't make friends with Autobots.
Oh, we're gonna hit the head going.
Yeah.
I see where Bay comes from, though. You know, I've seen over the story development over the decades, I've seen a lot of reasoning behind things. You know, and the Decepticons, you know, aren't necessarily just the black side of things or versus the white side of things. They have their own ideals and their own. They're standing out for their own rights and choices. You know.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely, you know, it's definitely a thing. You know, you've got both sides, and you've got the neutralists, you know, and that don't want to go for either side back in the comic book. So, but yeah, she did the second convention, and she actually changed her name to officially be her Transformer character. So that was how hardcore she was. You know, she went by Rockshot, and that was the plume serpent robot character she made. You know, and I made the mistake in the '95 convention because she was just converting to being known by her character name and not her real name. And I made the mistake of saying something about her in her real name at that convention. And because I talked to her for several years at that point, and that was kind of a foot in the mouth. She did not like that, but I spent a long time apologizing for that. But
I just I got to give shout outs, Josh. That was probably some of the best sound bites we've ever got from you. Deceptively conservative and just running on auto bots. Some people are. I'll both of those statements. Have you had any pushback on the name of the newsletter? Speaking of which, auto update newsletter. People are like, why isn't it Decepti date?
I in the original series of my newsletter, I played with things a lot. I had, of course, I varied back and forth on showing the symbols on the covers, like I do kind of right now with the. I gotta give credit to the people designing stuff. Craig Devlin designed the logo for my newsletter with that computerized strip down the side.
Yep.
And both the Decepticon and the Autobot version of it. And I trade those out back and forth. In my original newsletter, I even had a Decepti update issue on the cover. And I had a couple humor issues where I had auto upside down date, things like that, and lots of holiday issues, celebrating Christmas, where I put Santa hats on the symbols and on the characters. So,
yeah,
Halloween's coming up, by the way. So, and I'm a big Halloween freak. So, when it comes to Halloween, you will see a lot of Halloween stuff in the issue. Transformers, jack-o'-lanterns, and creepy pinups and so forth in the back cover.
You can get a
pumpkin
6-foot inflatable Optimus now for your Halloween decorations. I wonder if they'll do a Megatron. Megatron could really be in the Halloween decorations. Hey, if you're looking to be scared,
now put Shockwave in the Halloween decorations.
Shockwave, yeah.
Shockwave.
Yeah.
Scotty is one of our other resident con fans, and he is very prevalent. We have about Megatron being misunderstood anti-hero. Here's a Sea Spray. This is a beautiful representation of Sea Spray, going back to the Autobot by Gilbert. He does some beautiful work. I love the shine on this. I love the shine of the water on his pods and his arms. That's some outstanding work. Where can we find Gilbert's artwork, Tony? Aside from the Auto Update Facebook group, which you should all subscribe to, but where can we find Gilbert's work?
So far as I know, he's just posted on a couple Facebook groups. I think Transformers Bot Posting was one of the ones I first started work on. But I've sort of collected it together from the Facebook pages I see it on, and I believe I've talked to them briefly in a message, but he hasn't really done an interview or anything with me yet. I did sort of a focus on his artwork in one of my first new issues when I brought into the newsletter back. But I would really like to get in a hold of him and do like a spotlight interview with him. Hopefully
I love
soon.
his dark streak. I love his dark streak. Look at him ripping the head off right there. I love the dark. Well, aside from Sea Spray is like cute as, but the darkness in his artwork is really, really nice. Really nice. Good old Jazz. Where
That's
would
one
you
of
like to see?
That's one of the first
go on.
I saw of his that Jazz picture, and what really turns me on to a lot of these drawings is I really like to see the backgrounds of Cybertron and so forth, and the details of the planet. There's nothing worse to me than just having a blank background or just a square in the background for reference or something like that. I really enjoy when they put a lot of effort into the backgrounds as much as they do the characters in the foreground. And so yeah, recently that Dustin Hayes has started experimenting with a lot more background. My Autoforce character, he did that computer, sort of a Teletran one sort of background to the character, and it was amazing. And he's done like crystals behind Jetfire, like energon crystals in the ground coming out, and things like that. That I've really kind of pushed him for that, and he's done a great job. He's done fabulous.
Yeah, this background to jazz is phenomenal, and it's something you have to sit with the picture for a bit in order to start absorbing all the detail. What would you like to see next for the franchise in media, Tony? Like, we're talking, we know we got the '86 movie coming out, limited release, but what would you like to see as a long-time fan and someone who's been involved in many different levels? What would you like to see in the franchise in the future?
Well, a lot of the fans, I'm like a lot of the other fans that were from G1. We all wondered what happened between the original series in the '80s and Transformers the movie, in that 20-year span of time. So a lot of the fans have done projects and tried to do projects to do animation or to do stories and comics or telling what happened, and introducing those characters. But in a way, that's sort of passe. It's been there. It's done. We're way past that. We're way past 2005. So in actual time, it seems like it wouldn't connect with fans to do that, except for the old G1 fans like me. So I think more of a return to Cybertron stories. I was of a small opinion. I really liked a lot of the Series 3 stories, even though animation was done kind of crappy compared to the first two seasons. Even though, some people didn't like the fact that they were seeing all these weird alien races, but I really enjoyed seeing, varieties of different worlds, maybe lost civilizations of Cybertron, things like that. There's so much more variety of stories they could have had covering the intergalactic and the sort of storyline. Void Rivals is kind of doing some of that with, the two planets and Transformers, finding out more of their history. But I'd like to see more of that. A return to, I don't get me wrong. A few humans in there are necessary to connect with the audience. Because we're human and we want to see us represented in the storyline. But to me, I would rather see more of the Transformers world and their travels and their other planets they've engaged with than I would more humans and spikes running around.
You're not alone in that. I'll go on.
Tony, did you pick up on the season 3 with the Battle Beast episode?
You talking about the Japanese anime?
Yeah.
I had some episodes of that back when I joined the group. I got introduced first to Transformers Victory, and that was really my favorite. With Star Saber and Deathsaurus and all that stuff. And of course, you had to imagine what they were saying because it was all in Japanese. And since then, they've had bad Singapore translations, and I've got a couple of the sets. I think I got the Victory and the Master Force series on DVD with subtitles. I'd rather read them with a subtitle in Japanese than try to have them translated badly. And some of them are meant to be funny. The Japanese have a way of doing a lot of comedy relief in some of their shows. There's a lot of Orko moments and a lot of T-Bop moments like they would in Mask, and you got to put up with that. But yeah, Victory was my favorite. I did see pictures of the Battle Beast. I don't think I've watched the episodes with Battle Beast.
There's only one, I think. But yeah, they were originally in Japan. They came with the rub symbols of Decepticon or Autobot, and then Hasbro, when they imported them to the West, decided to rebrand them as something totally separate and have wood, fire, and water as their rub signals. But pretty much all of the vintage stuff these days is missing the rub symbols, stickers. So you could get old ones and find the actual rub symbols and put them on the figures now. So I've got a watch list on eBay, but they're too expensive at the moment. I'd love to see a reissue of them because they're fantastic little critter toys.
Oh yeah,
how big are the batteries?
Quite small.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. We had some of the Pretenders done in the core class, right? In the core class, and they did a great job of those. It's really cool to see that kind of size as a tribute to the Battle Bees come through. And I don't see why it can't be done. Can't see why it can't be done. Oh, we're moving in. We're almost at the end of this compilation of fan projects that we've garnered from the auto update page, but there is a ton more that you've diligently sorted on your Facebook page. So we're going into 3D art now from Campo Tigri. Throttlebots. Yes. Love the old Throttlebots. And more articulation than the old Throttlebots had too. Those things were sick. If you ever wanted a brick on wheels, they were a brick on wheels. You guys remember the Throttlebots? I love them.
Sure do.
And the Spark bots. Guzzler's coming out. Guzzler, the little Sparkbot tank. He's quite prolific here, Campo Tigri. He's done quite a range of figures. Is this stuff he does? Do you know if it's stuff he does just for his own enjoyment, or does he his own collection, or does he do commissions? Or
as far as I know, he's just done them for himself. I talked with him. It's been over a year ago that I talked with him, and originally put a full feature in the newsletter about some of his 3D art. And I made a folder for him, of course, in the group page when I started it on Facebook about 2 years ago. But he does amazing work, and he's made sort of a body, that design that Searchlight's standing on, that robot that's just sort of a nobody there in black, is kind of his skeleton of his characters, how he designs the beginning of stages of the character, and then he just puts on the parts to make sort of a mobile, jointed robot, But it's amazing. That's one of the things that I cover in the newsletter that's always amazes me. If we would have had these things back in the 80s and 90s to make 3D printers, to make our own characters, that we could have had all these things. And there's fans that do transformable versions and human versions, of characters, it's just no limit to what they can do, it seems like. And there's several fans that make attachments, like that DNA company that I talked about, DNA Designs, that make attachments of their own to make their characters like a Grimlock into Godzilla, or whatever the mistake, the idea is that they have. They can just make attachments to Transformer characters, armor for characters. And it looks like something Hasbro would have made almost.
Yeah, and they do quite a good job with color matching as well, because it's not like they have to kind of guesstimate the color blend when they recreate those kits. I know their Godzilla kit vastly improved the Godzilla figure that Hasbro put out, which was just basically Grimlock with Megatron's head in bot mode and a little symbol on the chest. But the DNA kit really upgraded it. The trouble is with small production is the cost, right? The cost for the provider, but also the cost for the fans. You really have to be selective these days about which figures you get, which figures you're happy with the base figure for, or which ones you want to upgrade. For me, the HasLab for Mega Prime is my first DNA kit that I purchased myself, and the HasLab for Mega Prime is no cheap bot, but with the production issues that came into it, and then the additions of the DNA kit, I was like, why not? I ran this far in this bottom. I might as well beat them up a little bit and see how it goes. So I'm looking forward to getting that. Tony, let me bring you up on screen here. It's been a wonderful chat. I know this was your first podcast episode that you managed to do. You were nervous before. How do you feel now?
A lot calmer. It helped to be able to get on for a few minutes before things started and work the nerves and shake them out. You guys have been great. It's interesting. I always have a good time talking about all the fan materials and all the old times and the new times.
Well, we love talking about it. Is there anything that in terms of the old world of fandom that you haven't yet mentioned that you'd like to give a shout out to, or people you'd like to give a shout out to that
well, one thing I wonder. when you was talking about we was talking about the 3D created things and the parts and accessories and what fans do. There's one guy, Todd Ferguson, in my group page, who started with some fan made comics and art, and now does 3D printed weapons and accessories to replace people's weapons and accessories they've lost. And when you was talking about color matching, he does an amazing job of color matching and creating things, even things that showed in the cartoon that maybe they never had as a toy, you know, like a trident for Octopunch or something, you know, the Pretender, things like that. But he's starting to work on things like actual Action Masters and so forth of Ultra Magnus and different characters. And I just want to mention his stuff specifically, just because we was talking about that. But yeah, I miss the camaraderie that we had in the old group, the smaller group of fans. They were all pen pals. They were all people that you got to know on a personal level, especially if you went to the conventions. And I kind of miss going to conventions. I wish I had more money available to be able to do things like that, like I used to. The disposable money is not disposable anymore. But yeah, that's probably what I miss the most. But I just want to shout out to all the fans who have done all their creativity. Keep it up. Do what you're doing. Learn more. Let's work together and don't make your own little bubbles and refuse to talk to other people, because you know it's by spreading your wings a little bit and getting in touch with other people that you create new ideas and new concepts for Transformers. And who knows, some of the stuff you come up with might actually be real Hasbro toys later on, or you might end up being an artist for one of the comic books, you know.
Yeah, you never know where it can go. It's funny talking about the internet and how the fandom was very close before, and then the internet kind of spreads it out. It's funny that through personal experience, since we've done this show, I've found the YouTube community actually can get back together quite close again. You know, we had people that are very established creators who were immediately supportive and you know, hopped on board with this own little fan project, and it's been part of the reason we've been able to keep it going and you know, have people tune in. And there's no expectation for this. There's no. You know, we appreciate it a lot, but they don't get anything for tuning in, supporting us, and we really appreciate them doing it. And I found that some of the most I've been able to quickly meet a lot of very interesting people in bridge that Australia to New Zealand to from this side of the world to the other side of the world so quickly, and it's been a phenomenal experience for that. So whatever you're doing on the internet, I know you said you were kind of like getting onto the internet reluctantly, but that could definitely be a way for you to bridge the gap with other creators and other people who support the fandom. So it's phenomenal. Now, the other question I have for you is, with these competitions, is there a geographical like limit to where these competitions run? Like,
I was going to ask that, yes. I want the hot rod.
If we start like submission to this newsletter, are we going to get caught out with the like, you're too far for us to give you a prize? Yeah,
the few times I've done these giveaways, of course I have a bigger, expansive reach now than I did before by being on all those other social medias, but I don't have a limit. The only limit I have is the U.S. postal system. So if they can't mail it to you, you know, because of reasons of government nature, if they can't be mailed to you, they can't participate, or they can participate, but I can't send it to them, you know. So I don't care whether you're from Australia or UK or, you know, New Zealand or where you're from, you know, you can be part of it as long as I can ship it to you.
Nice.
You may be getting some entries from outside of the world soon, and yeah, we'll have a chat to some of the locals down here and see if we can up your distribution to this side of the world a little bit. The appreciation for the art in that we've showcased today has been brilliant. I want to give a shout out to Galactus, who gave us a little hint when we were showing the throttle bots. He said they did a throttle bot race at TFN, done like mini golf on a small course. That would be so much fun. I want to go. That would be so much fun. Love the throttle bots.
If you're familiar with Fred Work online and DairyCon, it's a Midwest convention, which, when I first heard about it, I was like, DairyCon? What the heck? But he does small little fan conventions. He's done them for quite a few years, and he does jump starter races. That's this thing every year that they have competitions where they take the jump starter toys and run them back and forward and have them, see who wins the competition. They win the little prizes. So he does that every convention.
And shout out to Scotty, who is resting his vocal cords, but is still with us in spirit in the chat. Have you seen the Shockwave concept drawings?
I've seen concept drawings of it. I thought they were even going to work on a toy, supposedly. I don't know if that's real or not. Yeah,
they are.
It's real. It's real. And we're excited about it, right? He's going to be cool. He's going to be cool. Tony, we want to thank you. Go on, please.
Yeah, with some of these, the toys they've had for the cyber world, I mean, with pirate ship transformers and all this other stuff, they can make anything nowadays. So I try to cover all that stuff, whether it's the mainstream or the more kid-orientated or things from Takara Tomy in Japan. It's a rat race keeping ahead of it. But yeah, who knows what we're going to see?
Who knows what we're going to see? So, Tony, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you on. It's been a pleasure to support your work in Auto Update newsletter that you've been for many, many years. And, you're such a great supporter of so many people being creative. We hope we can give you a little bit more exposure and open up a few more doors for you and get people to get that retro hit by reading the newsletter and really invest in that form of media. Thank you so much for having us, for joining us in the chat. Next week, we are talking about TF Nation, and we're going to get further insights and stories from Jason Murray. Jason is an Australian icon in the Transformers collecting world, and the man can tell us stories. So we're expecting many, many stories from him. Rob, we will need like one slide, I think, and then we'll just let Jason and Mikey tell us their story for the rest of the show. So work will be easier. They appear courtesy of Toy Reel, and they've been doing some updates on the Toy Reel channel. Shout out to them. And then 19th of July, going back to the US with Chris. We're going to talk about tracking your Transformers collection. The different way people track it. Chris saw a problem and he's developing the ARC collection app. But the way that people track and actually keep track of the bots that they have in their collection and they've had over the years. I know it's certainly something that it's very easy to get out of control, but for insurance purposes and for, just for sanity and to stop you buying 3 copies of a bot you really, really like, got you put, tracking your collection could possibly be an interesting discussion as well. So we're going to have Chris on not the 9th of July.
I was going to say, yeah, travel back in time for that one.
2027. That's what he's going to be. It's on 9th of July, 2027.
Because there's too many gigawatts last week.
And we're gonna switch from Willy to Billy. That's what we're gonna do. Damn it! I thought I got that one. Thank you for being part of our show tonight, Tony. Thank you for being a part of the show, Rob. Stelios, Josh, any final thoughts, my friends, of what you do while we get people to tell all their friends about us and get them to like, subscribe, and share? Any final thoughts from the podcast panel?
Oh, they said if we'd like to see anything come out of Transformers in the near future, maybe a Transformers horror movie starring, Shockwave.
Like Friday the 13th.
More like a Conjuring kind of thing.
Right.
or a Wolf Creek.
Oh, without back. The dark side of Outback.
Two young bots hitchhiking across Cybertron, picked up by a man with one eye, a bot with one eye.
Imagine Hot Rod and RC.
We mentioned Cybertronic Spree before. They have I can't remember what the cover is. But they have a cover of a love song, and it's got Shockwave on the beach, like kind of prancing on the beach in the waves. It's so good. It's so good. Stelios, any final thoughts from you, my friend?
I mean, continuing on with that, I think I was talking to someone ages ago. Like I had like a idea, sort of like an anthology series where like every episode is like a different story. It all takes place in this universe, in Transformers universe, but like some kind of like where you could get like a different cast of characters for every. And maybe kind of like a sort of like an American Horror Story kind of thing where every season is a different story, but you could get like I'm thinking like a detective story with Nightbeat, or like some kind of political thriller with like some of the politicians like Ratbat and like Senator Shockwave before he becomes the Shockwave that we know.
Cybertron, a Junkion, and a Caminus story.
Yeah, stuff with like the female Autobots and like
kind of like the What If series that Marvel did.
Like that. Yeah.
Your presence is getting the creative juices flowing, Tony. These guys are going out.
I used to call What If in my old Transformers newsletter, where we come up with ideas like that, but not many fans made the stories. But
yeah, 100%. Josh, I'm almost afraid to ask, what's percolating in your mind, my friend?
Well, just from what you guys were saying, Black Mirror is a great example of that platform where you've got one-shots, and if it's all set in the same continuity and they're all in the same universe, those singular one-shots could be done like the Animatrix as well by different art teams, so they could work on it globally from different sections and then put all the episodes together by the end of the project. So that would be my take on that dream to come true.
Fan art collaboration.
Oh yeah, that'd be hot. And if you do check out that Skynet 2.0, you'll see that some really high-end AI art is like almost ready to be. You could turn those drawings into sketchy, really well cel-shaded, hand-drawn 3D models, and really collaborate between AI and human artistry can go a long way. So yeah, it's definitely within the realm of possibility in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I was just feeding back to Merchants of Venus, and Herschel actually talks about gems. And not talks about gems, creates songs about gems, and she uses the tools of AI to. She does all the lyrics, and then she uses AI to help produce some music. So there's definitely the use of those tools is definitely coming out in some very creative ways. And she says she owns the copyright 100% to that. Tony, my friend, wonderful work. I will try to facilitate some introductions to you so you can tell your story in many different platforms. We look forward to future issues of Auto Update newsletter or Decepti Update newsletter. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But Decepti Date.
Look for me on my Facebook group, Auto Update newsletter, or you can look for me on TikTok or Instagram under AutoForce 2088.
What would be your go-to channel, Tony? The Facebook page or the Instagram?
My Facebook page is the main page. Yeah, I've concentrated most of my efforts on that. I've got hundreds of folders, literally probably 400 folders by now, of artwork and fan creativity and scans and resources and so forth. But so yeah, the Auto Update newsletter on Facebook is probably the best option. if you can get on Facebook. But if not, like I said, look for me on other platforms and you'll find me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, mate. We'll put a link in the comments for you for this chat, and we will catch up with you very soon. We really thank you for your time. Thank you for getting up early and overcoming your nerves. We are nerds. Overcoming nerds. That's an episode. And joining us in your group is in the chat as well. Boys, thank you very much. We will see you next time. Thank you to everyone tuned in live. Thank you for all your comments in the thread, and thank you for those that will watch us in the future. Please let us know what you thought of this episode. And if you'd like us to find more gems in the Transformers fandom community that haven't had the opportunity to hop on a podcast before, we'd love to have them on. Thanks for tuning in, Galactus. We appreciate you. Subscribe for comments.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.